just get started kind of like where I got started with photography. I've always been, kind of love to play with cameras, and I was, been playing with cameras for like 5 years. It was only about 2 years ago that I really started getting serious about doing photography and really pursuing that, and it's been a really intensive 2 years. So I first started doing photography because my parents were actually having a divorce, and there's a lot of fighting and strife in the house. And I was given a camera for my birthday, and I just used it as an excuse to get out of the house. I'm going out of the house to go take photographs, but I wasn't really super passionate about it. But as I kept on going out of the house to kind of escape the atmosphere, I started to become more attached to the reason I was really going out, which was really just, which I said which was photographing. And I would, photograph all the things that I'd see, whether it be sunsets or, landscapes or asking for portraits. But what I really started, finding where I loved to photograph was when I came across a photographer named Henri Cartier-Bresson. And he was a photographer from France from the 60s, and he was one of the first photographers to start a type of photography called street photography, which is where you don't ask for permission, you don't ask after or before, you just take the photo. You're preserving a moment. And I was really blown away by his images, and this is in the 1960s. And when photography, in the 50s, when photography was still relatively new, and people had never thought before of someone taking a picture of you, so reactions to him were very, very different. But anyways, I started to experiment myself, and I would take photographs, and I'd be very nervous what people would think of me. So I'd stand across the street with a very, very long zoom lens. But as I kept on taking photographs of people, I started getting closer and closer and closer, and I realized that people don't really care. Sometimes they lash out at you and they say, "Why are you taking my photo?" And you get a little bit of like a strife. But generally, I always seem to calm it down. And there's just something very beautiful about capturing a moment, that's candid, that isn't posed, and that is something real, that is something really happening, that is there, and that's the magic of photography, in that, you cannot replicate an image twice. No matter how hard you try, it's going to be a different time. Photography is a time machine. It's 1/60th of a second, and that's it. That's what you've captured. It's never going to have the same photograph again. So I'm going to go around to some of these images. So this is some work from about 4 or 5 months ago. And I hope to be showing some of my newer work too, because what I've been doing with some of my newer work is I've gotten so bold to actually have a flash, and I'll get up in people's faces and I'll move the images away. And you can see some of the experimental stuff I've been doing on that table over there. But I'm going to go around. So the first 3 images here, unfortunately, that one had fallen, so it's cracked. But
do you want to tell the story behind
We
it?
need the story behind it.
yeah.
And the ghost that caused it to crack?
Gabriel, how old are you and what grade are
I'm
you in?
17, and I'm in 11th grade in high school.
Okay.
So these 3 images, that one was going to sit here, but unfortunately it kind of fell apart. So that one and then these 2 right here all belong together. And the story behind this one here is, I have a mall a couple blocks away from my house, and I like to frequent there. There's a lot of people, always, these peculiar, odd people, and I like to photograph them, until the mall security takes me out. And this is really late at night, and I was kind of going out of the mall, and there's a very big black wall. And I saw this Muslim woman sitting there, and what was really striking was there was this lighting that was coming from the corner, and I was striking on her. But what was more amazing was, her entire black garb was kind of fading into this black of this, dead space here, and just highlighting her face and her hands, and something, very, very ephemeral and kind of deep, was kind of showing through there, and showing the very, very, limited area of her body that she chose to show, and kind of surrounded by this very, very dark frame and dark lighting.
But what happened when...
What happened was, when I took the photo, most of the time people, if it's from a good distance, people don't really notice. But she noticed, and she came up to me, and she, asked if I took her photo, and I said, yes, I did. she asks, can you please delete it? And most of the time I'll comply, I'll delete the photo, because oftentimes, 99% of the photos you take, you're going to throw out in the trash anyways. But I saw this and I was, looking at my camera, because this one was, and I didn't want to delete it, and I told her I'm sorry, I can't delete it. And she asked me, please, can you delete it? It's against my religion, to have a photograph like this. And I said, I'm sorry, I really can't. This image is really amazing. And she kept on asking and asking, and I kept on feeling worse and worse, like I'm the bad guy here in this situation. I'm antagonizing her. She didn't come. But at the same time, it's also my right. If you're in public, and I'm in public, any photograph I take is mine. At some point, because we were getting pretty heated, I ended up asking her, did you even see the photograph? She said, no. So I turned around my camera. And she took a look at it, and she had this small, smirk kind of come up on her face. And I think she had realized the photo was not kind of painting her in any negative light whatsoever. And it was a really beautiful photo. I think what had happened was when you get so deep into an argument, you don't want to back out and admit that you're wrong. So she kind of gave a big sigh, immediately dropped her kind of smirk and, turned around and just walked away. So, and then these two here, this was shot, at 2 a.m. at a 24-hour coffee shop, somewhere I think in Mission Hills. There's this guy, and he's homeless. He sits there every single night, and it's a 24-hour coffee shop, and they don't kick him out. And I realized that, and oftentimes I go out on these walks when I can't sleep, and it was 2 a.m. I was passing through, and I looked at the window, and there he was, and it was a very stark, very empty scene. So I ended up taking a photograph. There's not much more to that. I've never talked to him, but I just know that he's there and something like it. And lastly, this was actually shot here in Italy, and I couldn't help noticing, the guy had a very, you describe his kind of way that he feeling the emotion, he may be feeling blue, and was, I think it's kind of interesting is the way that they're, you have the color blue, very, very strongly put throughout the frame on the bench. So the question is, what ties these three images together? And, a very important part of all these three is the fact that there's tables, and there's only one person at the table. And I think, for me, and I think for everybody, a table is a place of meeting. It's a place you share things over. It's a place you meet with your friends, you share memories, right? But in each of these images, there's a singular person at a table that seats multiple people. On that compounded is this, very strong use of dead space in all three of these, and that there's nothing going on. And oftentimes you really don't want to have dead space in a photo, but I think what the dead space is doing here is kind of creating this atmosphere where something has just happened or something is about to happen. Like you're kind of caught in that moment where of that in-betweenness, and there's a very, very strong feeling of loneliness, a feeling that we've all kind of felt at some point that kind of goes through these three images, and I think these images represent.
Can I ask a question? Is that all right? I just am curious why you've never spoken to the gentleman. You see him all the time. You've chosen to not speak.
Gabriel, can you speak up also?
Yeah, it's because I believe he's schizophrenic. He talks to himself a lot, and I've seen the donut shop employees go to him, and he's gotten violent.
Okay.
And I just think it's better just in that. But I have brought him a donut or two before. So
That's
I just
nice.
put him on the table in front of him. But I know he reads a lot, so. Going around. This was just these are some pillars that were shot in downtown. Just interesting with the reflection of the light. Very much this is kind of like a sound wave kind of fluctuating across. It's not much of a story there. I just wrote a lot of photo ops.